Hello, and thank you for watching this presentation on preparing for your defense from University Academic Success Programs at Arizona State University. During this presentation, several different tips and strategy options will be discussed that you can potentially use to prepare for your defense experience. We will first start off discussing the prospectus and what that process may look like before reviewing the different types of defenses. Then, we will review some strategies which fall into 5 main categories: knowing what your committee expects, being aware of ASU's graduate college expectations, due dates, and forms, strategies for preparing your written work for a presentation, how observations can be a powerful mode for preparation, and how practicing your presentation in a variety of ways can be helpful. We will wrap up by sharing some resources that you can use as you continue to prepare for this process. Much of the language in this presentation revolves around defending a prospectus or dissertation defense, but be aware that each discipline does have varying expectations, so some of these strategies may not be applicable for your program. Some of these strategies may also be helpful when preparing for any formal presentation. The prospectus is used to propose the dissertation or applied project research to your committee for approval to move forward with the next steps. Every department has slightly different expectations and guidelines, so you will want to confirm what your department expects to see in a prospectus. You can find out what sections are required for the prospectus. Do you include introduction and research questions, the literature review, and/or the research design/methodology section? Should the significance of the study be addressed, or do they want to see a full outline of the study or chapters to get an idea of where you are going? Along with sharing what sections are required, information on how long this prospectus should be will also be helpful as you write and prepare. As every department has slightly different expectations and guidelines for the prospectus, the defense experience may look different as well. For the prospectus, the purpose is often to present, discuss, and get committee feedback on the design and timeline of the final culminating project, your dissertation or applied project. Be sure to talk to your advisor and your graduate program director to find out more about the expectations for a prospectus defense. It might not be something to which you can invite others, as it is often only scheduled between a doctoral student and their committee. For the final culminating project for a doctoral degree program, there is more of a possibility that you can invite additional attendees. This is a holistic presentation of what you envision for your final research project, and the remaining part of this presentation will focus on you prepare for that defense experience. As you begin to start preparing for your formal defense presentation, you may ask yourself a lot of questions about what it should look like or where you should even begin. Part of being in a doctoral program is having a chair and committee of faculty who are going to hear your defense. You will more than likely be working very closely with this group as you work on your project. Schedule time to meet with your advisor to find out what expectations are in place for your defense is the best place to start with the planning process. Your advisor can guide you regarding some important initial questions you could have. They can give you guidance on if you are expected to do a formal presentation and if that will be online or in person. If it is online, you'll want to confirm what meeting platform, such as Zoom, will be used. With online meetings, you'll also want to confirm things like who will set up the meeting and who will be the host driving the meeting. Depending on the meeting platform, different roles may be needed to be decided on in advance to make sure everyone has access to the meeting features they will need. Guidance can also be given on how long the presentation should be in terms of number of slides or the length of the presentation versus the time allowed for questions, and even how questions will be moderated if being held online. Your advisor can also let you know what their role will be during the defense and what role the other committee members will have. Your advisor can also let you know if it is acceptable to invite others, such as friends, family, or colleagues, to your defense. This group may have some suggestion about if there is a specific format they would like to see for slides, or even if there is an expectation of dress code. Dress code can be important, even if you are defending remote, as you may be on camera. They can also give you feedback on if you are allowed to have notes or reference materials as guides for yourself, or if they expect you to only have the presentation slide deck. Any questions about logistics, your chair and committee members are a good first place to start to help give you a framework and parameters to keep in mind. As you look ahead to scheduling your defense, familiarize yourself with the due dates and expectations that ASU's Graduate College has in place. There are particular steps you have to take before you can officially schedule your defense, such as confirming you have met all of the Graduate College requirements, such as GPA, IPAWS, or gone through format review. There is also outlines for the process to officially schedule your defense date. There is also information on what to do after your defense, like what forms need to be completed with what signatures. This is another important piece to clarify with your committee before your prospectus or dissertation defense, as far as who is responsible for the final paperwork that everyone on your committee needs to sign and then be turned into the graduate college. Especially if you are defending online, you will want to make sure it is clear who is responsible for emailing and collecting everyone's signature electronically. You do not want to assume that your chair will be the one to have that document and take care of the process, only to find out they expected you to be taking care of those steps. You will also want to note the steps for completing revisions and submitting that updated document. All the information mentioned is available on the Graduate College website, and you can visit that site on the screen. One recommendation is that you review the website at least once a semester in advance and write down all due dates in a calendar so you can keep track of the details. Chances are you have spent a lot of time and energy writing your chapters or working on your applied project. The finished product has a lot of information that you are proud of and that you want to share with your committee and your audience. Unfortunately, just reading your document is not an option. So how do you go about condensing pages and pages and chapters into a shorter conversation or presentation? First, take a moment to consider the audience that will be in attendance for your defense. Will the majority of people attending be from your field of study, or will attendees come from a variety of disciplines? Typically, when you're defending your prospectus, it is just in front of your committee. Consider asking if they want you to present as though they, as your audience, know nothing about your field. That can be a good point to clarify. Knowing this will help you decide how much detail you need to go into about your topic to make sure everyone can understand what you are discussing. An important thing to keep in mind is that you should not just be reading facts off a slide or giving a mini literature review. You should be thinking about how you will frame your research to tell a compelling story to your audience. Think about why you are spending time researching and studying this topic. Why is it important? Tell your audience why they should be interested and care about what it is you are researching or what you discovered. And finally, be confident in your rationale behind your research design and questions for both prospectus and dissertation defenses. The more you are thinking about having a narrative in your presentation, it should help you see what parts of your written work are important to include in a presentation and allow you to create smooth transitions between slides and sections, leading to a more seamless presentation. Part of your preparation process should be to look into observing other defenses and learning from what you see others do. So find out if you can observe someone else's defense. If given that defenses are happening online and they are not currently allowing outside observers, you may need instead to have discussions about the experience with colleagues. There are many different ways you can try to observe another person's defense. Do learn if you can attend in Zoom or in person. If you have a friend or colleague defending, you can go to their defense, or even another person within your department. You can also ask your committee members what other student committees they are on, and if you could attend a defense they are a part of. Observing others in that environment can be valuable in many ways. You get to see what kind of format they use for their slides and how they deliver their information. Also consider the style your peer is using. How are they using their presentation material and what content are they sharing? How do they interact with their committee members or audience if present? You will hear what kind of questions are asked by committee and audience members. So notice those, as they may help you prepare to answer similar questions you could receive. And what was the overall structure? How did they utilize the time given for the defense? And what was the timing of each section? Observing presentations can help give you some idea of what to expect, but spending time practicing different parts of your presentation will help with your confidence. Be sure to plan ahead with your practice time. Don't wait to start practicing only a few nights before your defense. While you will most likely not have to have your presentation memorized, you want your delivery to be polished and professional sounding. One of the things you'll want to prepare for is how to answer questions from your committee. To begin, you will need to think about what questions you may be asked. You could review previous feedback from your committee members to potentially get an idea of the types of questions you could prepare for. Write up some of those example questions and think about how you could answer them. If you observe or learn from a peer, a committee member asking a question that may be applicable to your topic as well, consider brushing up on that topic so you are prepared for that potential question. Also, it's important to prepare how to be unprepared. It is possible you'll be asked a question you don't know the answer to. So how can you still sound competent even though you don't know? Ultimately, do not be afraid to say, "I don't know," rather than guessing or making something up on the fly. It will likely come out sounding much worse. Instead, practice phrasing such as, "I don't know that specifically, but that could be an area for further exploration," or "I don't know, but maybe it's related to this," or "I don't remember, but I do know I discussed that briefly in my document." Some clarification should be appreciated. Beyond practicing questions, there are other tips that can help you feel comfortable and confident before your presentation. Do you have a writing group or trusted reader who may be less familiar with your topic? Practice your presentation in front of them to see if you are clearly communicating your story and ideas. If possible, consider asking a chair or committee member if you can practice in front of them. Do you know what technology you'll be using to present already? If so, use the technology before your presentation day to get a feel for how things work, or may not work. If you are presenting online, demo on your own with a trusted friend how you will be delivering your presentation that day, from starting the meeting to sharing your presentation to advancing slides. You may also want to think of a worst-case backup plan in case something with technology does not work the way it should. If you are presenting in person, you will want to try to go to that room beforehand to notice things that you like or dislike about the space and prepare for them. Finally, be sure to time yourself when practicing. Most people talk faster than they think they are. Practice speaking slightly slower than sounds normal to you, and it will probably be a good pace for listeners. Even if you are defending in an online meeting, or even if you're not, record yourself delivering the presentation. You can then watch it back to notice anything with the flow of information or your own presentation style that you want to look into and potentially adjust. These practice tips should help you feeling confident and prepared going into the day of your defense. As was just mentioned, practicing for questions is an important part of the process. In addition to the tips shared previously, You can also develop your own questions to practice and prepare how you would answer. Some questions to think about are, to what gap or need did your research respond? Why did you choose your methodology? How is it connected to your research design or research questions? What are some of the highlights of your findings? What are some highlights of your analysis? What contributions can your research make to the larger field? And what are some possible future areas for continued research in your area? For some book resources, here is a sampling of titles that were recommended on the Graduate Student Ways website. How to Finish and Defend Your Dissertation, Strategies to Complete the Professional Practice Doctorate, The PhD Process, A Student's Guide to Graduate School in the Sciences, Mastering Your PhD, Survival and Success in the Doctoral Years and Beyond, The Unwritten Rules of PhD Research, Open Up Study Skills, and How to Get a PhD, a handbook for students and their supervisors. All of these books, and probably more, are available either as physical books in the ASU library stacks or full text online through the ASU libraries at https://lib.asu.edu, which is another phenomenal resource for you as you work through your program. Remember that a website resource that will likely be very helpful to you is ASU's Graduate College website. The page on completing your degree has a lot of useful tabs related to policies, procedures, and opportunities that graduate students will have for making formal presentations like the prospectus or dissertation defenses. See especially the culminating experiences, defenses, and graduation deadlines/procedures tabs on this page. The Graduate College also has a mini webinar series with various topics, one of which is how to prepare to defend your online thesis or dissertation defenses. You can see that as well as the additional topics on their website. Thank you for watching this presentation on preparing for your defense. We hope to see you at one of our online centers soon. Appointments are real-time, one-on-one, online via Zoom, or in person at campus sites. To schedule appointments, you can go to our website at tutoring.asu.edu or call our office at 480-965-9072. We look forward to seeing you soon.